Good evening and welcome to Nice Drop Report. Auckland FC are the premiers. We had a huge game last weekend. It was a 1-0 victory against Perth Glory in the end. But really it's not about the game, it's about the celebrations. It's about how far this club has come from nowhere in just over 400 days. We are the premiers and have secured that semi-finals spot, and we'll have a home semi-final on the 17th of May. Lots to talk about this evening, lots to talk about. Huge celebrations across the city from the fans, the players, expats, Aucklanders all over the world, no doubt, celebrating. One of those, Robbie Feldman across the ditch. How did you celebrate the win, mate? Bit like that?
Muted celebrations with the family watching me. So, yeah, I couldn't get too wild, but no, I actually got quite emotional, to be honest. As you can hear, my child in the background getting quite emotional too.
When you say you got quite emotional, do you mean when we so there's two occasions really. There's Saturday night. Oh, let's get you turned down a little bit, Rob. There we go. Saturday night, of course, the Melbourne result comes in real late in the evening. Matthew, did you watch the Melbourne result as well? Did you watch the game?
No, I didn't. No, I don't want to spoil Dan Hall's interview. Oh, no, you sent a little small clip out. I'm in the Dan Hall camp. I went to bed, woke up in the morning, found out.
That's right. So for everyone joining us tonight, we do have Dan Hall on later, who will be giving us an insight into not only the celebrations on Sunday evening after the game at Go Media, but what happens Saturday night, which is essentially, the result comes in about 11 o'clock at night. And most of us have gone to bed over here, including the players. And Dan Hall, he'll tell us a bit later, found out. I don't know how else to put this. I get up once a night and go to the bathroom. It sounds like Dan Hall does as well, and that's how he found out about 4 a.m. So yeah, we're all built the same, I guess.
Yeah. No, I was up and watching the City game, so I did a little, again, silent fist bump celebrations myself, and couldn't believe it. No, I the emotion kind of came out when the boys lifted the plate up, just because, I've been trying all week to figure out how to articulate it. It's as a sports fan, this means the most to me than anything else I've been lucky enough to experience as a sports watcher. The teams I follow, the successes they've had, it's been from afar. Like, I'm a United fan, so watching them win Premier League, Champions League, it's been on the couch. It's been early morning. It's, I'm a Rabbitohs fan, so I was lucky enough to be at the grand final that we won, but it's not my first sport. The fact that this is a team from Auckland, I'm an Aucklander, I'm a football guy. This is the first thing that I've actually been able to call mine. This is my team. So the fact that it's happened, and it happened really quickly, it's just blown my mind. Like the pride, it's so hard for me to explain. But this is, New Zealand winning World Cups. I've been to a few World Cup finals. This is bigger. This is easily bigger than anything else, and I can't put it any other way than that.
Probably because it's football. Yeah, I mean, I have a sort of similar sort of story, which is, I'm a football guy, obviously a Spurs fan, as a lot of people know. Watching Spurs for my entire adult life. I've seen them in the flesh lots and lots, but I have never been in a stadium and a whistle goes, and then people start bringing out podiums, and there's a trophy lifted inside a stadium I'm in. So for me, and probably for heaps and heaps and heaps and heaps of other people in that ground on Sunday, was incredible. Now Matt was at the game as well. Have you ever watched one of your teams lift silverware in person, Matthew?
Yeah, just trying to think. Unfortunately, I couldn't get over to the UK when Blues won the League Cup. That was 2011. But I did go to They do give you a trophy when you win the playoff final to get to the Premier League. So I saw that. So when they
seen a twinkle of silver.
I saw a little bit. Yeah, I saw a little bit of silver. I still don't think it's a proper trophy award, really. I mean, it feels like you've done something good to get to the Premier League. You've won a playoff final, but realistically, the guys that won the league deserve the trophy. You're kind of getting something. It's a bit like Blues just won the League One and they got a trophy, and Wrexham came up in second, and they gave them the same trophy but a bit smaller, which I just think's a little bit weird and don't really worry about it.
Nah.
It doesn't seem right.
Yeah, well, the Premier Plate came out. It was amazing to see the team lift it. Especially, I mean, for me, having doing this podcast with you guys all season, we sort of started this when who had any idea how it was going to go. To see these guys, and we've interviewed a few of them and caught up with a few of them. They're all genuinely lovely guys, lovely backroom staff, the management, right up to the chief exec. We even understand that Bill Foley's been quoted as saying he was over the moon with the regular season finishing top, so he's happy. And it was just lovely to see them. Obviously they do the usual thing. They went round the ground, but interestingly enough, they went to the other end before they came up to the port, which is where I was sitting as usual. I've got a bit of a tale from my time in the port, which is not connected with the plate lifting. But they went around the stadium and then came up to the port eventually, and oh my goodness, there was some celebrations led by Alex Paulson, was there with the megaphone kind of leading the chant. So there's been to see that connection between the players and the fans, was a beautiful thing to behold. And then I understand they were out there for about 90 minutes. We left after about half an hour. But they were there going for 90 odd minutes. The players go inside the Black Knights place. What's it called? The Black Knights. What's it called? The place where the people.
The lounge.
And stuff. The lounge. That's the word. Have a bit of a celebration then. And then we've seen all the pictures. Then, by all accounts, the lads and the lasses they head into town, and the night finishes. Where else but Danny Doolan's? Now I think we can all say we've had a night that's gone.
Oh my God.
Too many.
Yep.
Too many.
Yeah, I agree.
I saw the headline, and when they said that they didn't mention it by name at the beginning. I think in the first paragraph it said they had a night out, and then it ended up in an Irish bar, and I just knew straight away. I know exactly what that's going to be.
Yeah,
and
there's only one place.
To my horror, I was correct. Yeah.
Had to be Danny's. I've only had probably one really wild night out in the last decade of my life, and it did end up in Danny Doolan's. And I've had plenty there before. So so they celebrated wildly. Dan Hall gives us some insights on that in the interview coming up. But yeah, I mean the game itself. I guess Rob, you're watching on the TV. The game itself kind of almost went into second place for the event and the kind of iconic moment, really, didn't it?
Oh, I mean, for some, yeah, I totally understand, people wanting it to, I guess, wanting something out of the game, the game to still be alive in a sense. But I don't know. I'm kind of the whatever. If you win, you win, and the fact that it was done the night before, I don't think it took away from the fact you had a full house. It's pretty shitty weather. Yeah. But the fact that it was still full house, they all came with full noise, and to get an Olympico goal as well, which is pretty rare, it didn't take away from me at all. I mean, look, the game itself, yeah, we probably should have had at least a handful of goals, but as it was the case the first time we played Perth, Ollie Sale was insanely good, and it was still a dominant performance. We just scored one goal.
Is that what they call it when it goes in straight off the corner, an Olympico goal? I don't know if I've heard it called
Olympico. That. Yeah.
Olympico. Do we know the origins of this?
Yep, it's a thing. Vaguely, I think it was scored in Olympics, and I apologies if I get that wrong. But the first time that it happened was at an Olympic Games, and it went straight in off a corner.
Yeah.
In fact, I'll Google it right now. So.
Google it. All right, go away and do your homework. Fantastic goal. But it was a real wet evening at Mount Smart Go Media, like you say, 25,000 in there. Matthew, you went to the game, didn't you? You watched it in the South Stand, which is the bit that was opened up specially. And I tell you a little story. So I was checking in with Matt through the afternoon. Hey Matt, do you want a lift? You going to the game? And he just came back and said, I'm keeping an eye on the rain radar. That's all I got for a few hours.
I think, yeah, I was also just trying to dust off all the golf rain gear as well. I was trying to find the waterproof trousers and the waterproof top, and I think I even debated on going under the house and getting the wellies out. I was almost that close, but it actually didn't do too bad. The
was
weather
fine.
wasn't
Yeah.
so bad in the end. Yeah, I felt a bit. I don't know what the word. I felt a bit overdressed when I got there because there's a lot of people that just rocked up in their normal gear, and I had all the matching rain gear on, so and I had the big brolly out. I thought I was a bit a bit over the top, but yeah, luckily
You well prepared.
I was. Yeah, I mean, I looked at some, when I got back home. I looked at some people and I sat down, and some people were complaining that the seats were wet and there's no cover. Why are we sitting in the stand with no cover? I've only got a t-shirt and a jumper and a pair of jeans on, and
Fair
I
weather
thought to
fans,
myself,
newbies.
yeah,
That's what it says to me.
oh boy, yeah, you just needed to
Noobs.
have a quick look at the weather report, and you'd have found out that you were going to get caught out. So yeah.
I think I had a similar little experience, which I'll tell you about. So myself and my girls went into the port as usual, and we actually sat a little bit of a different spot to where we usually sit. And I'd not sit, stand. I always say sit, but park up. Let's say pull up, right? And so we pulled up in a different sort of spot, and I realised very quickly we'd pulled up behind where the big flags go up. So you'll see on the TV, and anyone that goes to the game, there's a lot of these big, massive flags. And I just had that moment where I thought, you know what? I'm here for the moment, for the momentous occasion. You know, I've got a restricted view ticket today. That's all good by me. And then the game starts, and I can only describe them as a group of youths, some young lads who all pitched up behind me and the side of me, and they were incensed about the flags being waved because they were, it's blocking my view, and there was a lot of, put the effing flag down, put the flags down, get the flags down, I'm going to go and take that guy's flag off him in a minute, blah, blah, blah. And I was very calm. I let it go for about, I think it was about 7 minutes. It was 7 minutes more than I should have done because he's trying to yell in my ear, but 11 rows forward. He's trying to contact the guy with the big Latino flag, and I think we've had this guy in the pod. And I'm thinking, there's no way he's going to take his flag down. And I let it go. And in the end, my eardrum's about to burst. And I turn around and he's a big lad. And
Here we go.
And I say to him, I say, look, mate, he has this flag up every week. I said he's not going to put it down. And all you're going to do is give me an effing earache. And he was like, oh, so sorry, bro. I'm so sorry. No worries, I'll stop. And I was like, go away with that one, because he was a big lad. And anyway,
you'd already committed.
Big Dale.
I'd committed, and I was in the but my ears were on the and when my ears start to hurt, I will fight the biggest guy in the room to stop my ears hurting. And anyway, so to end the story, they stop all this, and they're just young lads out having a great time. They've obviously not been to the game before. I know they've not been to the game before because they're discussing the Wellington Auckland game, and they're describing it as the derby, which is one of my pet hates. It's the derby. It's the derby. I let my wife get away with it. She calls it the derby. That's all good. She's helping me with the podcast. But the lads going to the game, it's not the derby. It's never the derby. It's a derby. All right. I know the spelling's confusing. I know the spelling's confusing.
Demolition derby? Isn't that what that's used?
Well, it's an Americanization, but it's football. So
yeah.
It's the derby. And anyway, so and I met you other steps at halftime, Matt, and I'm like, do you want to get in the port, Matt? I'll get you in. You're like, no thanks. I'll just stay up there. He was not coming in, were you?
Well, in fairness, I tried at the beginning, but they were really hot on it. I was actually surprised. Because I actually had sat in that lower bit before with you, I think, but I'd never been to the top bit. So I thought I thought you had to go through the bottom, like where the port are, to get to the top. So I started, and the guy said, "Can I have a look at your phone? Can I have a look at your ticket?" And I showed him. He goes, "Oh no, you're at the top bit." And I said, "Oh, could I sit here anyway? I think I've got friends in here." He's like, "No, your seat is at the top of the south stand. Up you go."
You're right. You're right. You didn't have tickets in there. Yeah, I was probably
so that's fair. So he told me to off we go.
Yeah. Usually they're not too bothered about people moving around, but I think they're getting a bit hot because everyone's trying to get into the port. Anyway,
so full as well. So
yeah,
busy.
it was the atmosphere was incredible in the port.
Yeah,
Like I'm having a laugh about my situation, but I enjoyed every moment of it. Incredible in there. Go back to the same spot that I'd been in. The girls have reserved the spot, and the same lads are there, of course. And the teams have changed ends by this point, and now Ollie Sales in front of us, and the lads have taken their venom. They've removed it from the guy with the flag, and they're directing it at Ollie now. And every 2 seconds, F you, Ollie! F you, Ollie! Ollie! F you! So that was 45
Gee, that's
minutes
original.
from me. I know.
Yeah.
And
Well, that's the problem,
like,
isn't it? I don't mind them having a go at the opposition player, but it's got to be smart. It's got to be clever. It's got to be something.
Yeah.
You can't
That's,
just
yeah.
you can't just tell someone to F
That's
off. for
just
45
idiotic.
Minutes.
I know. So I kind of summarised the story with I think I went too far into the port this week. I think I like to be a fringe port treader, you know, somewhere I can get out, somewhere I can get
Fair
out
enough.
quicker. But yeah, it was
City
great.
exits.
It was great. It was great. All the players came over and sang and danced with us. Nick Becker was dancing and carrying on like you know like a young boy living the dream. And we forget all these guys. They all gave up kind of other jobs and other careers and other clubs to come here, you know, to Auckland FC for this gamble. And one of those is Dan Hall, of course. And I'm going to play the interview of Dan in a little bit. But just before we do, it's really important to note that Dan Hall was with Central Coast for the last 2 years and has won the championship for the last 2 years and a Premiership and the AFC last season. Is that correct, Rob?
Correct. Yep.
Correct. Yeah. So he's kind of left a winning team to come to Auckland FC. Well, he left them. Obviously, it's paid dividends. But I asked him that in the interview, and he's on the verge of something very, very special, which is to become, you know, he could win 3 championships in a row if he wins the grand final with Auckland FC. So Dan Hall is rocking in his life at the moment. Yeah. So we're going to have a little listen to Dan. He did the interview yesterday. Oh, my mouse is here we go. All right, Dan Hall and myself. It's about 20 minutes. Kick back, enjoy. Here we go. Dan Hall, welcome to Nice Drop Report. It's great to have you along. And first of all, congratulations, Premier winners. Awesome stuff.
Yeah, thank you for having me. And yes, I'm still buzzing for that, for sure.
I bet you are. I went to the game on the weekend. You know, it was an incredible experience for all the fans. I know, you know, a lot of the port stayed behind and, you know, got into the festive atmosphere. What was it like for the players as soon as you sort of like disappeared? Because you guys were on the pitch for like, was it an hour and a half, and then you disappeared off into the night? What was the night like Sunday?
Yeah, so obviously there was a couple celebrations on the field, and players took time to sign stuff and talk to fans, which was nice. And everyone was super supportive. And then eventually we got swept by security and team manager to go into the change room. And then when we got into the change room, celebrations had already begun. The music was pumping, and I walked into the gaffer drinking from the trophy. So that was my first scene when I walked into the change room. So yeah, it was all going on.
It's quite it's a plate though, right? But it's curved, is it? So you can get some alcohol and stuff in there?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's probably not the best for drinking out of, but we made do with what we had. So yeah, it was it's like there's a little bit of a dent in it, so you can put something in there.
It's great. What was Steve Corica's kind of words to you guys? Because obviously, you know, the season's not finished. We all know what's coming next. But did he tell you guys to go enjoy the moment, let your hair down?
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, when we arrived, we already knew that we were premiers, so it was a bit of an interesting one with the mindset of just playing the game out. And obviously, we knew we wanted to win the game just to make the celebrations even more meaningful. So I think he just said, focus on the game, and then after the game, we can celebrate accordingly. And the boys did that for sure.
Yeah. And of course, the night before that was the Melbourne City game, which kind of did confirm it. Were you all just sort of at your houses individually sort of watching it? It's quite late by the time the game was going on, or did you get together and watch it?
Yeah, we were all just like at our houses. I actually didn't watch the game. I woke up in the night to go to the bathroom, and I checked my phone and I had messages. So I was like, oh, how good. That's how I found out we were premiers. So that was unreal. And I think maybe a couple of the boys watched it, but most of them woke up in the morning to find out that they're premiers. So yeah, it's a good feeling waking up to that.
Nice. Well, you had a big game the next day. I just wanted to sort of talk to you particularly this week, Dan, because obviously we go into these semi-finals now and then hopefully the grand final. But you've been there before, of course, twice in the past 2 seasons. So you would make some sort of A-League history, I believe, if you won the championship this year to become the first player to win it 3 times in a row. Did you know that?
Yeah, I did see someone did tell me that, so there's no pressure really, hopefully. But yeah, no, it's a cool stat. But at the moment, I guess we're just focusing on firstly just finishing off the season, and then we'll attack the first leg semi-final and go from there.
Yeah, well, you bring, I guess, this sort of experience that a lot of other players in the team don't have. Jake Brimmer would have gone through the A-League playoffs, so you've been through it now, and it's a kind of, you know, what does the team do for the next 2.5 weeks? Obviously, you've got this Western game, so that's a normal week, but then there's a 2-week break. What do you do in those 2 weeks as players and a team now, where you've got to sort of rest and kind of, you know, stand by, but then the action will be on us?
Yeah, I think it's a bit of a difficult one to tackle. Just obviously because we finish in the top 2, we get that week off in between. So I think for players, I think some are looking forward to just having a week break. Obviously, we'll train through, but having no game gives us a little bit of time off. So hopefully that helps with recovery for the body and that. And then after that week's up, then I guess it's just full steam ahead, looking at that first round away in Oz.
Yeah, and in the semi-finals themselves, is the approach like they're just like any other game? You know, I mean, obviously Auckland FC, we're still on a massive undefeated run. Will there be any special kind of things attached to those games, or will it be just go business as usual, win as we have done all season?
Yeah, I think so. Obviously, I think the gaffer says it. You know, we want to win every game we play, and so not trying to just shy away from the game plan and just focusing on each game at a time and trusting the process, and hopefully that process leads to wins.
Yeah. And then if you get to the grand final itself, you know, we know it'll be a home grand final. Do you think you're going to make it 3 in a row if you get that far? Will we win the championship? Have we got what it takes?
Yeah, obviously, I think we've proved it all year. We're a difficult team to beat. But as I said, I guess any team on their day can play well, and upsets do happen. But I think just as a playing group and as a coaching staff, you know, we're very confident that we believe in what we build here. And we believe that if we play to our potential, we can beat any team, no matter who they are.
Yeah, absolutely. Winding it back a little bit, you know, I mean, you're there at Central Coast. You know, you've won the league 2 years running. You know, you've won a Premier, you won a you know, Asian Cup. Why leave the Central Coast Mariners in your case and come to a club that's just been invented? I mean, we had no idea how it was going to go. What was the driving factor for you to up sticks and move over here to Auckland?
Yeah, obviously I came through the academy at the Central Coast, so forever grateful for them giving me an opportunity and pursuing a professional football career. And I guess in anyone's career, you know, football career is only short, and everyone else has their own drives in life and what they want to do and achieve. So I thought for me, it was a good time to try something different and, you know, get out of my comfort zone. And I thought, what better way to get out of your comfort zone than going to a new team that wasn't even around when I was playing in the league a year before. So, yeah, I guess I took the risk of coming over here, and so far so good.
I feel like you're kind of alongside a few other players in a similar boat, because, you know, we spoke to Guillermo Mai early in the season, and he's sort of the same. You know, he's obviously never heard of Auckland before, and he kind of came and he took a punt, and it feels like you're all on that sort of like you're on this huge momentum where you all sort of came for a punt. We all turned out to watch this team for a punt, really, and we're sort of, you know, in the semi-finals going to the grand final. Do you think football in particular, you know, winners are turned up when there's momentum, you know, and there's stories?
Yeah, I think so. Obviously, I guess that's football, right? There's always going to be cool stories that come from, you know, just I guess everyone has their own individual story, and it's all about coming together. And I feel like here at Auckland, we've built something very special. And I think with the success comes a lot of memorable stories. And yeah, it's just a good wave that we're riding at the moment. And long may it continue.
Yeah, it's a hard question, but what would you boil it down to, Dan? What has been the secret of this team's success?
Yeah, honestly, I always say it every time I get asked. I say it every time that obviously there's a talented group of footballers, but before that, there's top people and top humans in that change room. And I feel like I always say credit to the scouting network of who they brought in. They brought in good characters before and also talented footballers. So with that combination, it's just a very enjoyable work environment. And I feel like when you're enjoying what you do, obviously you tend to improve. So I think there's obviously a lot of mixture of combinations of things, but if I had to say anything, I feel like it's just good people that work hard for each other. And, I think everyone's just bought into what we're trying to build here, which has been great to see.
Awesome. What about your season in particular, Dan? You've come in, you're obviously a starting player at the beginning of the season, and then you pick up you broke your ankle in December. How was that for you? Because it'd been such an amazing start, of course, for everyone. How obviously it's pretty obvious how you felt, but tell me what it was like.
Yeah, it was honestly it was pretty upsetting. I thought I was playing well, and it's frustrating when it's just a random challenge in training, and I tear ligaments and I break my ankle. So frustrating, and I knew that I'd be ruled out for a fair amount of time. But I think I just mainly wanted to just focus on just trying to, when I do return, just to be as fit as possible so I can help the team. Because I feel like the most frustrating thing was just having to watch games and not being able to contribute to the team the way you'd like.
Was it what they call a good break, a clean break, so it was easy to mend? Because you obviously came back, a few games ago, and you're back in playing.
Yeah, that's also, I was very lucky with how it so it was a fractured fibula, but it was like a clean one. So luckily no surgery or anything, and I didn't even need to wear a cast. I was just in a moon boot, but I was non-weight bearing for about, I think, 8 weeks or 6 to 8 weeks or something like that. So it was quite a while just on crutches and that. So I guess now it's just about being grateful, just being out there again and playing, running around pain-free and everything. So yeah, it makes you realize how much you enjoy playing football when you can't play for 3 months.
Yeah, and you guys, particularly in the defence, of course, have been a massive bedrock of this team. Like would you say you've struck up a really good sort of understanding with Nando, and then obviously Tommy comes in, and then outside of you, Hirokai and Francis on the left as well?
Yeah, of course. All talented players. I feel like just competition for places and just being good mates on the pitch and off the pitch has obviously played a part in the success that we've had. And Nando's a very talented footballer and a great guy, and Tommy has abundance of experience and is a top human as well. So just getting to learn off both of them, it really makes my job a lot easier. And then that's not even looking who plays next to me, Hiroki on my right, and then Franny on the far side, and then we haven't even mentioned AP behind us. So it's a very united backline, and I'm just glad to be a part of it.
I was going to say, you got a pretty decent goalie in there as well. Yeah. So what about so before you go to Queen? So tell me a little bit about your, how football started for you, Dan. Like where did this passion come from? I see you were born in Melbourne, and then you pitch up in Queensland playing football. Just give us a little bit of a background about football with you.
Yeah. So a rapid biography from my history. So I born in Melbourne. When I was 5, we actually moved to China for my dad's work. So I lived in China for about 3.5 years, and that's where I first found my love for football, because that's where all the other foreign kids played. They played football, so that's the first sport I jumped in, played in, and I guess from there I just fell in love with the game and enjoyed playing, so I stuck with it. After China, so after 3.5 years, moved to Brisbane, where I found my first club over in Brisbane and stuck with it, continued playing, did my schooling in Brisbane, and then was lucky enough to get a trial to join the Central Coast Mariners down in New South Wales, north of Sydney. So joined them in, I think, 2018. And then, just stuck through and made my way through the academy to, I think, 2020 or 2021 where I signed my first contract.
Yeah, and it's been obviously a success since then. Well, what's it like playing in Australia? Because I mean, here in Auckland, of course, we haven't had a professional football team like for 18 years. There's the other lot down in Wellington, but we have sort of had nothing. Whereas Australia's kind of ahead of us. Most of obviously the big cities all have a team or two or three. Some of them. Is football is it kind of making any inroads in Australia? Because we always have the chat about whether football's making any inroads against rugby here. But can football make those inroads in Australia as well against, because you got so much competition with the AFL and League, of course?
Yeah, I think, honestly, it's obviously very challenging just with the amount of professional sports and sporting environments there are in Australia. I think it's obviously a hard effort to go up against your NRLs, your AFLs, and all of that. So I feel like football in Australia has the potential to be great, and I guess it's above my pay grade on how we make it great. But I'm just a player in the whole chess game, so it's definitely a tough question to ask. But I feel like where it is at the moment, the game is obviously super competitive, and the product of football in Australia is definitely growing, and there's obviously a lot of talented players coming through the ranks.
And so, if you could, who do you play international football for? Is it Fiji or Australia, or maybe even if you've been in Auckland long enough for the All Whites?
Yeah, well, I think I have got 4 or so more years that living in Auckland to even think about that one. But at the moment, as I said, I've said it a couple of times. It's just about, for me, I really just wanted to be focusing on clubland, so playing my best football for Auckland, because I feel like when you're playing well, that's where the opportunities come from. And then from those opportunities, that's where my decision would be made. So at the moment, I've just been full focus on playing my best football and just being back out playing. And I guess only time will tell what happens there.
Good stuff. And I've got one more question for you. As I said, we had Guillermo Mai on the podcast a few months ago. And I asked him, I said, look, in every football team, Guillermo, there's the old fist pumper, and getting the players riled up and ready for the game and, yelling a bit and shouting and getting them into it. And I said, who is that guy? And he said, it was you, Dan. Are you the fist pumper in the dressing room?
No, to be honest, I don't think I wouldn't say I'm the fist pumper. I'm definitely probably the loudest. But a lot of the times it's I don't know if I'm very motivational. I think I just talk a lot. So obviously with Guillermo's English, he probably thinks I'm trying to be motivational, but I'm probably just cracking jokes, to be honest. So it's it's an interesting one, that, but I guess I'll take that. If Gisha thinks that I'm the pump up guy, I'll definitely take that one.
All right, good stuff. We ask every guest that comes on. We even asked Steve Corica last week for a prediction of the upcoming game. Western United away, it's what we used to call a dead rubber, essentially. I mean, there's no points at stake for us particularly, but obviously Western are going for it. What's your prediction for the game?
Prediction for the game, I'm going
to
say I like a clean sheet, so I'm going to say 2-0 Auckland. Dan Hall header.
Nice. I like this. Good prediction. Well, let's hope it comes true. Good luck for Saturday, but also good luck for the semi-finals and hopefully further into the A-League.
Super. Appreciate that, and thanks for the support.
All right, Dan Hall.
What a great interview.
Yeah. Well, I love
so much fun.
How good. Wow.
Yeah. 2-0 win and a header from himself. I like that at the end.
Yeah, I like that. That's right.
I have to give you so much credit, mate. You're getting actual score predictions out of these guys when normally
they sit on the fence.
In old media, they just play, just a good game of two halves, blah, blah, blah. You're actually getting proper predictions, mate. Well done.
Yeah.
And Dan was a legend. He's such a cool player.
I'm just waiting for the moment where there's a story's going to pop up, like someone on the Herald or someone on the Stuff is going to write up about the game. And they're just going to put in Dan Hall on Nice Drop of Port reckons that Auckland are going to go to Western United and win 2-0, and he's going to score a goal.
We're waiting for the headline, Matt. We're waiting for the clickbait.
It's got to come, like, because what Robbie said, they never give anything. They always sit on the fence. They say, "Oh, you know, it's going to be a tight game, but you know, we hope we get a result. You know, we trust the process,
Exactly.
and then we hope we get a result."
Stick to the process.
All that cobblers. Yeah.
What do you think is it? What do you think it is? I'm like lulling them into a sort of false sense of security. You know, tell us all your hopes and dreams, and just give us
an innocence.
Dan. Yeah,
It's just an innocence behind
The
your
lovely
eyes.
face of this red-headed man.
Yeah, he's fine. Yeah.
What could go wrong? Who would he tell?
Harmless.
Yeah.
You know?
Like I heard someone say the other day, "You're not hunting, you're gathering."
I guess, yeah. Gathering
I'm
stories.
I'm not trying to catch you out. I'm just being a nice guy. I'm just in there, just talking to you one-on-one, friendly.
That's right.
I quite like that the other day.
Part of the family now.
It's just
part
us.
of the family.
It's just us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. It's just us.
To be fair, you know, a lot of the credit's got to go to the club because they have given, you know, superb support of this podcast. So thank you very much to Auckland FC and the comms team and everyone there for, you know, letting us get close up to these guys and giving them a sort of platform to chat it out. Because I was thinking about this the other day. You know, you're right. Sports interviews tend to be very rushed, very snappy, very kind of like a little bit guarded, like you say. So it is nice to have this kind of more chilled kind of, you know, most of them have just finished training when I talk to them, and it's a few days after the game, so they're able to sort of, you know, and I really wanted to hear from Dan, particularly, you know, obviously he's maybe going to set these records, but also that injury that he picked up. There's not many that could come back from 3 months out with a broken ankle and slot straight back in. What's Robbie? You go first. What's your thoughts on Dan Hall's season?
Yeah, echoing exactly what you say. The fact that he'd missed such a big chunk of the season and came back and did not miss a single step, like slotted straight back in, picked up exactly where he left off. It's a credit to him and the medical stuff as well. Just the fact they were able to get him back up and running so quickly without much of a disruption. But, you know, also credit to Tommy Smith being able to step in and pick up the mantle. And basically we missed him, but we didn't really, if you know what I mean. So it's a small part in what needs to happen for a team to be successful. You do need a lot of luck to happen. You know, it was unlucky that he got injured, but because we had Tommy there, we got such good stuff going on behind the scenes, and he's a very diligent character anyway, so he's going to do whatever he can to get back, you know, and be back at full fitness quicker than most. So, yeah, it's a sum of all parts, but yeah, incredible stuff.
Clean break, Matthew. Good to get a clean break when you get an injury.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I mean, it seems like it worked out quite well.
We
for
talking
Dan,
injuries?
Yeah, I guess is it a compound fracture? That's not what you don't want. Is that when it kind of slides over the top
that's the
of the
worst.
bone?
Yeah.
That's the bad one, isn't it? So
I didn't know that he'd had a clean break, but I assumed because he came back so quick that it was what they call a clean break in football territories.
I mean,
you know, it wasn't complicated. He was back in, you know.
Yeah, that's what I took from it. Actually, that's the point that I actually wrote down, that he's pretty much, to his credit, he's come back almost seamlessly. You know, he's 1 minute he felt like he was there. He's gone for a space of time, and he's almost picked up pretty much exactly where he's left off. But another point. I can't get out when we started talking about it at the beginning of the show. I guess for them people out there that are concerned that they have to get up in the middle of the night to go to the toilet, have no fear. Dan Hall is an athlete in his prime, and he gets up to go to the toilet and have a bathroom break. So I think that might have put a lot of people's, mind to help them out of it.
To be fair, it's probably to do with all the hydration he has to do as an athlete. I think with us, it's just aging, bloody, you know.
Prostate's on the way
aging
out.
process.
Speak for yourself.
Yeah.
I get up because of all the hydration as well, I think.
Yeah, that's right. All those Luke. I was about to say Lucasades that you drink, or the what's it called? Powerades.
Vodka limes.
The vodka light. Yeah, that's right.
It is interesting. I don't want to dwell too much on Dan's bathroom visit, but like you do get up in the middle of the night sometimes, and you do look at your phone, don't you? And I've been in those situations where there's a big news story or something, and you you sort of digest it and go back to sleep. But I mean, I guess they knew it was going to go one way or the other, so he was just having a cheeky look. Yeah, but most of the lads went to bed early and found out in the morning because they had a big game. Like I said to him, they had a big game. What are they going to do?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And the other thing I thought I teased him about was whether he was going to play for the All Whites, of course. So he's never been capped by Australia or Fiji. Is that right? I see he's had some sort of lower youth games.
Correct. Yeah. So no senior cap for any country yet. And to be fair, you're not the first one to assume that he's eligible for New Zealand. It happened to one of our Channel 10 commentators who's very well educated and read, and he just went, "Oh yeah, he can play for New Zealand." Actually, no, he can't.
Because he's already played for the other teams at under 21, or no, if he stays,
no.
He stays there long enough, he can.
You can play youth. You can play for youth, but there's a criteria like the stand down eligibility. I forget the word, but you have to live in a country for a certain number of years before you're eligible to represent that country. So it's 5 years under FIFA.
Yeah.
FIFA law.
I mean, I know this because I'm not from here, of course, and came here, and it's 5 years to get a citizenship. I think it took us 5 years, did it, Matt, to get citizenship? So Dan's been here a year, so yeah, he's right. He's got 4 years, and he's 25. So if he doesn't get capped, he'll be 29. And defenders, as we know, they're in their prime around 29, 30. So you never know. Never know for Dan Hall on the international stage. But
he's good enough. For sure.
He's good enough. He certainly wouldn't look out of place in there. Yeah. So Dan Hall, big celebrations like the rest of them, drinking off the plate. I thought it was important to ask how you go drinking off of plates because
it looked awkward. I'm not sure what was more awkward, them trying to drink out of it or the fact that Corica got sconed in the head by an empty box. If you'd seen that clip on socials, it was
I didn't see it.
It's not the best thing to drink out of, but they tried, and I suppose you got to try.
Yeah, I mean, if there's ever a defense to say whenever you win anything in any sport that you should just get a cup because you can fill a cup with whatever you want. I mean, if there's ever if you go to court and you need to make a defense on why we should change it from a plate to a cup, I think that if you watch that video, that's exactly the video you'd want to lead with.
I'm hoping you gents have seen the Champions Trophy that the ALeague champion gets. Have you?
It's more of a cup, right?
No, I don't think I have. Is it a big old cup?
So if you no,
it's quite the opposite.
Okay, describe this to us, Robbie.
Yeah.
It's affectionately called the toilet seat.
Right.
I have. I'm gonna Google it. I can't not.
No, I think I've seen it. So it's completely useless for drinking.
Well, how are they going to drink out of that? Yeah.
I guess you could hold it up so that the hole's in the middle, and someone just stands underneath it, and someone then pours beer through the middle. But that's the only way.
How graciously you would stand underneath it while someone looks like they're pouring alcohol through a toilet seat.
Yeah. So maybe that's why the fact that they can't do it out of the championship trophy. Yeah. You have to kind of do it out of the plate. So, okay, I can understand it from that point of view.
And the other issue with that plate as well is that I didn't know that when I first saw it, I thought it was just pretty much like obviously a plate, but it's got these little bits inside it as well, which makes it almost like a bit like the alcohol will flow through. It looks like you're not quite sure exactly where it's going to come out. It's a bit like that game, when you drop a coin and it goes blah, 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 like that. It's kind of got that kind of effect. Yeah. And you're just going to stand there like that, and it's either going to go there, or it might go there.
Which way?
So it's just, I think we can all agree it's an awful drinking vessel. Yeah.
They've just won the Premiers though. It's a beer showered celebration, I guess.
We're getting away from
exactly
the topic.
But I did just.
I digress.
I did just Google the A-League trophy, and it is a horrible looking trophy, like a big round thing.
It's
it's
unique. I love it. I love it.
Will it grow on me? I need to
If you
try.
win it, I think it will.
I think
But
it
Oh,
will like.
boy.
Have you seen it,
Oh,
Matthew?
yeah. I'm
It
just
is a
having a
toilet
look at
seat.
it.
It is a toilet seat. Yeah.
Oh, gee, yeah, right. You can wear it as well. There's like one fella
look,
with it around his neck.
that's exactly it. That's the only trophy in the world. I think you get fans bringing toilet seats to the game, just holding it up and celebrating.
Oh,
Players put it on.
I can
Daniel
see.
McBreen told me
yeah.
today during the week that he thought he broke the Champions Trophy because he was wearing it, and then he goes, "Oh, I'll just chuck it down there," like, and kind of frisbeed it. It's very heavy, so the fact that he frisbeed it was actually quite an achievement. And then it just went clang. But it's not. He didn't break it.
You certainly can't drink out of it. Maybe it was the Australians trying to cut down on their their binge drinking culture a little bit over there. You know, like you know. Dare I say it? Dare I say it? No, it looks rubbish for drinking. It looks rubbish for drinking. Who? Let's move on, lads. Who are we going to play in this semi-final? So let's go through the connotations a little bit. May 17, definitely away final for us because we finished top, right? Well, we got to decide, right? And we've decided to go away. Is that right?
No.
No?
I think
Just go
it's
first.
It's just a blanket rule. Yeah, first leg will always be away for the top two.
Yeah. And I'm looking at the ladder. So, all right. So we've got the elimination. So we're talking a little bit about Western away, the dead rubber last game of the season for us. And then the week after there's the elimination finals. And so third, fourth, fifth, and sixth play each other. Is it second versus sixth and third versus fourth?
Third, 3v6, 4v5.
Sorry,
in the eliminations.
4v5, and then I saw something that is Auckland would play. No matter who gets through of those Auckland of those three, Auckland will play the lowest ranked team, right? Whoever finishes bottom, not kind of one.
Correct.
It's not predetermined. It's okay.
That was good.
All right.
Yeah, it's whoever's the lowest ranked of those four teams.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, well, three teams because we'll be the other team, right? So and it won't be team two. So so I'm looking at the ladder. It's really close, of course, between Adelaide and Sydney, for that sixth spot. And Adelaide look like they've finished their season. Have they? They've done.
They have the final round bye.
Wow.
Yep.
So they're for the people who haven't seen the ladder, Adelaide are sitting on 38 points, and Sydney FC are just blown 37, but they've obviously got the last game of the season. So apart from that, it's kind of looks like it's decided. So Melbourne, Western Sydney, and Western United are there. It's just that last spot.
It's just the order.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, correct. So it's Sydney and Adelaide. That's the only spot in the six to be decided. The rest is about finishing order. And the awesome thing about all that is it should all be decided by Saturday. There's three games on Saturday: Melbourne City versus Sydney, and I had the time, so I think that's at 7:00 New Zealand time.
Yeah.
So if Sydney draw, they get into the six, and then kicking off an hour later, Western versus Auckland. Western still fighting for second place, and then the main game over here in Australia, or the later game for you in New Zealand, will be Macarthur versus the Wanderers. So every game kind of has implications, especially if City don't win and they don't lock up second place. It's still to play for. It's an amazing way to finish the season.
Yeah,
it's interesting they do it at different times though. Wouldn't that normally? Isn't there that bit of you get an issue where if they don't all play at the same time, then you can kind of almost have a bit of a gentleman's agreement, like two teams say, if one of us wins, one goes in, one goes out. But if we put a draw together, we both make it. Oh, so that was
yeah.
Maybe they just don't. Yeah,
I think that's more of a thing. Yeah, no, that is a thing, but it's more of a thing, for like World Cups and major tournaments. Whereas this is a league season. I don't think there's. Teams wouldn't do that anyway. I don't think these days. But
there was a very famous where this went wrong was a World Cup, I remember, and then two teams did get together and play out a draw. And was it the Germans or was it the Argentinians or one of those teams we don't like? I think.
Yeah, one of those teams. Yeah.
one of the countries have upset.
German people and Argentinian people are great, but football England, you understand. You understand.
Yeah.
Obviously Argentinians. Yeah.
But
So
that
I
can be.
can't imagine them getting together in the A-League and agreeing not
No.
one of them not to win. But
Okay.
yeah, it is strange. It is unusual.
No,
It's
not when
so-
there's there's a place in Asia up for grabs. There's home ground advantage for the elimination finals. There's a place in the finals if you're Sydney or Adelaide. So there's no collusion happening for sure.
No, everyone. What you're saying is everybody's got something to play for, and of course, so Western United,
Correct.
if they can nip that second spot, so they beat us and things don't go well for Melbourne City, they play in the Asian Championship, so it's a massive game for Western. On
Correct.
Saturday, or this
Correct. So if they win, and obviously knowing what City's result would be, if City draw and Western win, then Western goes into second place and can't be caught. So there's
That's big. For them.
still a lot to play for the other teams.
That's
Yeah.
massive for them though to get into that Champions. I've heard some of the money that gets banded around, especially with the position they find themselves in as well. To make that could be
Which is very interesting.
the change, couldn't it?
What a shame that Auckland FC don't qualify for that. I mean, I know we're newbies here in this league, but it looks very exciting playing in the continental club tournament.
That pops up in the socials a lot. A lot of people a lot of people have had to be corrected, thinking, "Oh, we're going to be playing in that Asian Champions League now," and then unfortunately, someone has to come along and slap it down and say, "Yeah, because you're not in you can't play in it." So, yeah.
And it's
a
because
shame.
New Zealand are in Oceania and Australia have obviously moved to the Asian Confederate a while ago. Eh?
Yeah.
But there is that OFC Pro League, which both of the Kiwi clubs have applied for, which will give us some more incentive. I mean, as a professional team, they need to be given an opportunity somewhere. So hopefully this Pro League, which it sounds like it'll get off the ground. Hopefully we'll have some representation there, one way or the other, if it's either or. But you'd think the highest finishing New Zealand team would get that entry. I'd love to see Auckland play at something like a Club World Cup. That'd be awesome. Like Auckland City get to play Bayern, Boca, and Benfica.
Yeah,
I'd love to see Auckland FC play that.
Yeah, that's right. It's mental.
I'd love to see the port pulling up in China or somewhere. That'd be a laugh.
yeah, that'd be good. Yeah, the port are cool.
Right, so tickets on sale for the semi-finals. Nick Beck has confirmed that they will go on sale shortly after the final regular season match, which is this weekend. So we're expecting tickets to go on sale for the Auckland FC home semi-final, which will be played 23rd of May. If you're an Auckland FC member, you get an exclusive window to buy the tickets, and you'll be able to buy in the place that you've bought your season ticket already. So that's exciting. So I'll be getting my tickets for the semi-final, and we'll know kind of who we're playing, right? Oh no, we won't. On this weekend, we won't know who we're playing because we'll know who the lowest ranked team is, but they might not win their elimination. Yeah.
We'll know after the elimination finals in week 1.
Yeah. Good stuff. All right. The other thing I just wanted to quickly have a quick update on is the Auckland Arena stories in the news again this week, where who's going to get the rights to build a stadium. As you'll know, Auckland FC have got a bit of a consortium putting a bid in to build a 12.5 to 15,000 seat stadium in Western Springs. Matthew, you've been following this one. You live close. I hear there's we've got the Ponsonby Rugby Club also bidding, but now there's a third option. Did you read that story?
I thought the third option was a venue just for concerts, some kind of overseas music.
No. I think that's contained in the Ponsonby Rugby Club music venue.
Oh, okay.
Bid. The third option is there's a lawyer involved.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
This lawyer would like to bring a halt to proceedings. The lawyer's working on behalf of Western Speedway, and she has said it's clear that the only prudent approach at this time is to not progress any further with the expressions of interest process until a judicial review of proceedings have been determined. So I did wonder whether this would rile a few people up, and especially the Speedway guys. And so I understand it's actually going to go out for consultation to the Auckland public. So you living close by, Matthew, you might actually get to have a say on what happens.
Have a word. Yeah. I did. So, yeah, you're right. I did read that bit of. I just thought. I actually was talking to somebody about it the other day, and from that kind of legal kind of point of view, and they thought that it was kind of almost a bit too far gone. It was a bit too far. That they've already started to put the applications in. People have been able to put tenders, and people when they start spending money on potentially designs and bringing people in and assessing stuff like that really does feel that it's got probably a bit too much momentum to try and put a halt to it. But you never know. Stranger things have happened. Yeah.
Stranger things have happened. All right, we are going to have a little musical interlude now, and this music can only mean it is time for Matt on the socials. The update from social media. All right, the stage is yours, Matt. What's going on, mate?
What have we got going on? Okay, look at this, full screen as well. I mean, obviously, everybody is talking about who we're going to play and all the potential opposition in the semis. But I think it's just a lot, as we've just discussed. I think it's just too difficult to try and figure out exactly who's going to be the people that are going to be playing in the semi-finals. So moving swiftly from that, I think the thing that's gained the most traction in the socials is the Wrexham FC coming down to play. I see someone there put a comment. I actually quite liked your, what was it? I said it to myself a moment ago and I got it right and I can't say it now out loud. Shenanigans.
Shenanigans.
Yeah. So just asking there. Yeah, I mean that's the big thing that's caught people. The possibility that Wrexham are coming to town, the Wrexham, the big red bandwagon popping into town and bringing everything that it will bring with it. But yeah, unfortunately,
it's been denied though, isn't it? It's been denied.
It has.
They're going to be playing the Phoenix.
They've decided to go down to windy, cold Wellington instead and play them not down there. So I mean. I don't know if it makes any sense really. It feels, with the American connection and Foley and everything like that, and what Auckland is trying to do, it just felt like nailed on that they were going to play Auckland FC. So I was actually quite surprised that Wellington has been picked for the has been picked for that game. I don't know if you got anything.
Yeah, I mean, Wellington do have prize in all of this. They played West Ham. LA Galaxy, Boca Juniors, so it's not unheard of. Yeah, I'm a little bit disappointed it's not going to be Auckland, but at the same time, it's I don't really care to be honest.
I don't.
Would have
care
been nice, but
it's a friendly, isn't it? I don't care about friendlies.
Yeah. I think
it's a money grab, but
I think someone made a good point and said that, hey, let's just try and find out exactly what Auckland are going to do. They might come back and say, Auckland are playing this team, and that team. You never know who might come down and play down here. I think, Spurs
I did see
a year ago, whatever. But,
I did see that the Nottingham Forest was a potential tour of Western Australia, playing the Perth Glory. There's usually some bit of some kind of a mini tournament, so that's a potential. Someone raised the possibility of seeing Auckland FC play against Chris Wood, maybe, and they wear red, as good as Wrexham, so
they're a lot better to watch as well. Yeah,
a lot better to watch.
Those pre-season friendlies are so early, but I think we said this time when this season started that the pre-season's huge, right? Like, because obviously we're playing in July. A pre-season against Wrexham in July, if the Phoenix are playing them, and then our season doesn't start to October. That's a long time. They've got to be fit and ready, isn't it? It really is.
Yeah, matching those two. Yeah. The other one that stood out quite a bit was that people were not happy with the DJ at Mount Smart Stadium. The big issue, I think, where it's all come to head is think you mentioned there, Dale, one of the players, I think it was Paulson, he had the megaphone and he was trying to get the crowd all kind of G'd up, and he was saying something and they were saying something. But over the top of it, the DJ was doing the music over the top, and it was drowning out the connection between what the players were trying to do and what the port were trying to do. And that it almost feels like the straw that's broke the camel's back. I think the DJ, I think the port have had the DJ in the crosshairs for quite a while, and this seems to be the final straw by the sounds of it. Yeah.
It was a bit unfortunate. Young Alex was trying to do the thing, and we were wondering whether he couldn't work the microphone, because it was like he basically went and got the guy from the port's loudspeaker, and he was going to get it going. Which reminds me, I think it's Chris Smart that does, one of the guys that goes around with the loudspeaker, the hailer, telling us all what to sing and shout. He actually ventured into the other stand for the first time and had a lower big section of the west stand. Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's great.
Bringing the port to others.
A port starter class,
A port, yeah, an introductory class. And talking of the port, it's quite a good segue. I thought it was quite good on the Facebook page. They're having their own port awards. I don't know if you've seen that, so you can jump in there and vote. I thought it was quite a cool little angle that they've done, actually, because they've decided to. I think it's 2 questions. I think the first question is you need to pick your favourite player, but not just your favourite player or the best performance, the player that embodies the port. So there's a whole. I think they've pretty much listed every single player there, and you've got to pick a player that kind of embodies the spirit. I think they've said of the port and the can do and don't ever give up. And I think the second question is the biggest port moment. I think it was. So there's a few options there for you to choose from. So yeah, I thought that was quite cool. Good angle. Yeah.
A few candidates, I think, for player that embodies the spirit of the club the most. There's a few candidates.
There is a few. I
mean,
I've
voted. Go for at this stage, Matt?
Well, I've already voted. I don't know if I should I spoil it, or should we wait?
You just
spoil it.
Go on.
I think it's quite easy. I think you'll only need one guess.
Well, go on.
Francis de Vries.
Oh, Francis! I honestly didn't know who you'd pick. I don't know. I mean,
Oh, okay.
I think I'd go for Tommy Smith.
Yeah.
Only because of all those weeks.
That's who I voted.
Yeah, all those weeks warming up on the sidelines, and he's back on the bench now. But he embodies everything about the club and the togetherness and.
True.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah. He's the one that always leads the team over there. He starts the chants for the team. He gets the port up and moving. Yeah. It was Tommy for me.
Yeah. It looks like Tommy's coming through the comments as well from Auckland FC. Yeah. I don't know. I saw. Yeah. I don't know why I didn't actually. No.
But don't regret your choice. Franny's well deserving as well.
Oh, I'm still sticking with De Vries. Oh yeah. I mean, I'm sure they're going to do a end of season awards, and I think he's going to do pretty well. So I think he's.
Although we've got three huge games to go. I mean, potentially. If someone has a blinder in that grand final, for example, then surely that skews the voting. To actually win that grand final, and because if we get there, we've got to put a big performance in, right? And we'll need a match.
Well, I just thought, what do we do? Do we do an award show before they play the finals, or do we do an award show at the end of it?
Because this feels like a meeting offline, Matthew.
Feels like
as they say in the Bez.
A little peek behind the curtain there.
A little peek behind the curtain.
Meeting.
Quickly shut it there. Yeah, a little meeting at the end. At the end, someone said at the end. Yeah, I think.
I see that being in the full term report. We had a half-term report, you'll remember. So we'll give these guys a full-term report at the end.
Give them a grade.
Yep.
Yeah, and the one thing we haven't looked at is the ratings for the week. I might just put these on. Of the game itself, and I was delighted to see that you put Guillermo Mai as man of the match, just because I just think he works his socks off every game. Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? I mean, it's definitely a lot difficult when you're at the game than obviously when you're. So I've tried to watch it. I've watched it back. I think Sky does like a 20 or 30 minute kind of truncated kind of version of the game, which can sometimes be a bit misleading. But yeah, I think you're right. I think I mean, the back four were fantastic. Midfield were pretty good. I mean, they absolutely battered him in the first half. I don't know how that game was nil-nil at half time. Marta had a lot of chances. I remember.
He did have a lot. Yeah, Marta had a lot of chances. Yeah. But yeah, I think you're right. May just worked really, really hard. He was there when he needed to be there, and I think that's why he gets it. Yeah.
I'll just read them out for the audio listeners. So we've got Paulson 7.5, Sakai 7, Hall 7, Pinnaker 7, De Vries 7, Rogerson 7, Brimmer 7, Verstrati 7, Francois 7.5, of course, gets the goal. Mai 8 and Marta 7. Yeah, I think that's fair. They all had a really decent, solid game.
I think so.
I saw a lot of flags. So, Robbie, you might have a better context.
You give us a flag rating next week.
Flags 9.5.
We'll have all the flags underneath. The Colombian flag was a good one. The French one was a bit poor.
I'll vote for you. Yeah.
You got anything on that, Robbie? Anything?
No, the only differences for me. Only differences for me. I'd probably push Sakai to an 8. He was my player of the match, and I hope there's not as much crap thrown Max Marta's way, because it was very similar to the Perth game that we lost. He just looks like a striker who hasn't had much game time recently. The goals will come. The fact that he's still getting into those positions you can take a lot of confidence from that. So we were battering them. Yes, he probably should have had at least 1-2 goals, but he's getting in the positions. It's just the finishing that's not quite there, and that's just a bit of rust. He'll be much better for that run this week and then going forward into the finals. So I don't think we should be too worried about Mata.
Yeah.
Do you think Steve has settled on his best team?
That's the point that I
think so.
I just wonder. The only thing that I think that's a little bit up in the air is the formation. I put some notes saying I don't think he'll start, because the semi-final is the first game, isn't it? And
away
is first.
Yeah.
I think I can see him starting that 5 at the back, and I don't think he'll start Francois in the away game. They're the two things that I think. You think
he'll play Tommy in there with 3 centre backs with Dan?
I think he'll play 3 CBs with Sakai and De Vries on the left and right. Yeah, and I think he'll just go tight in the middle. But I think that means that he won't play Marta and May. I think he'll play more like a Brimmer and May going forward, and then he'll just be tight in the midfield and 5 at the back.
Robbie, what do you reckon to that?
I just kind of think it depends. It depends on who we end up facing. The thing, and like Bimby mentioned in the chat with him last week, Dale, that he's got more flexibility about him now, and then he can change things, and he's not so set in his ways. I think I'd still wait until we know who we're playing, and then we can kind of go down that what's best formation chat personally, because I don't think it matters, to be honest. If he was to go with the back 3, I'd maybe go Sakai in the center of as part of the back 3, and have Callan Elliott on the right, because that's it. We know that's worked, but it doesn't matter. The formations of the players that he chooses, it all kind of seems to work.
Well, it has done so far.
Yeah, I've tried to work out if Steve is a person that sets his team up just for the game, or he actually sets it up with the opposition in mind. I can't quite figure out what he is. Some managers set up, they try and nullify the threats of the other team, and then they obviously try and exploit the areas that they're weaker on. Or is he just a guy that has he has his set 11 players that he trusts, and then he just tries to figure out exactly what the formation should be with those players? Yeah, I can't quite. Yeah.
I just think with modern football now, you can't just rely on 11. You have to rely on basically the entire squad.
Yeah.
And the fact that he's got that depth available to him, and he has grown as a coach personally. He can change things up. It's like the game Sydney away, where we got battered. 2 goals down early. He made some tweaks, and they came good, and we probably should have won that game in the end. We finished a much stronger team. So to have that, again, that flexibility is massive.
Yeah, because we had those 2 games where, they're two really good players. I can't think who we played against. I think they're up there in the top scorers. They're both right-sided players, but they cut in on their left foot. and they hit it. I can't think. There's two teams we've played against. I think one was Western Sydney. I think I can remember him, and there was another team. And I think he went back to back there. We got caught out.
It might have been Segacic for Sydney.
Yeah,
where he scored those two screamers.
So he doesn't seem like a guy that's going to, set like for like. The fact that it's happened probably 2 weeks in a row makes me believe that he doesn't really take too. Obviously, he does take notice of the opposition and what they play, but I think he's got I think he's set upon who he trusts going out there, and I think that's what he'll stick with.
Yeah, I think he knows.
He knows his best 11, but he trusts his squad.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. And you see Moreno and people come in and Francois come in and Callum Elliott and the likes and Tommy and do a great job. And so moving on to this weekend, we play Western as we've discussed away at Western United. They need the win. It is a dead rubber for us. How does the team approach it? I mean, I guess they go out and they try and win. It's a game of football, right? But are they going to pull out of a tackle or two? Don't want to get injured ahead of the playoffs? Is it that sort of vibe for us? Any thoughts?
I wouldn't think so. Purely because if you start going into things half-hearted, that's when you're more likely to be injured. And I speak from experience as a football watcher because I've seen that happen. Obviously, like I'm not an elite athlete. Well, I came close, but I'm not really. You got to take things as normal. You got to approach it as normal. You go out to win, and you got to play hard. Because if you start taking half measures, that's when you start compromising things. So, and for someone like Corica, I certainly would not expect him, Danny Hay, John O'Gould, that coaching staff. They don't, they're not going to say, just ease up, lads. I can't see that happening.
No.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Matthew? I think someone made a good point there. Yeah, I've been keeping an eye on the Championship and the teams that are going into the playoffs, or all the teams that are going into the playoffs, and it's all about that. Yeah, the key word seems to be momentum. Keeping that momentum going. Yep. Don't go into the next game after getting handed a 2 or 3-0 loss. I think what he'll do is I think he'll start fairly strong with the players that he normally does, but I think he'll just take some off. Where he would normally leave Sakai out for 70, 75. He might bring him off in 60. I think we might see more people coming off and around the 60-minute mark, 65-minute mark. That cliche kind of time, and you go run out here, run out, because he's got to be careful. Because I think he said last week, there's quite a gap between. Obviously they don't play for a week.
There's 14 days after the Western game, give or take.
Yeah, 2 weeks,
which is a long time not to play.
Yeah, so you want to give him. You don't want to be. You don't want to say, "Oh, we'll rest this guy, we'll rest that guy."
No.
It's 3 weeks that you haven't played football, so yeah.
Yeah, like someone like a Max Mata, I personally love to see him play 90 minutes because I think he needs it. So, I wouldn't want to see him come off earlier than 80.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe the likes of Guillermo could do with the rest, but like you say, I mean, 2 week. I mean, Guillermo, Sakai, those guys who have played a lot of games. De Vries even would be in that. Anyway, we'll see.
Yeah.
Predictions. So Dan Hall said 2-0 to Auckland FC, and he's going to score a header. I like the sound of that. I think I'm going to go first. I don't want to have an Auckland FC loss. I think a draw would be what I reckon is going to happen. 2-2. Western United be going for the points. 2-2. Desmond.
Yeah.
Matt, you want to go?
Oh, I watch it. That's a scratch for me. That's what I was going to go with. I was going to go 2-2. I'll go 3-3.
3-3.
I'm going to go. I'll see you 2-2, and I'll raise you
3-3. We're just naming numbers, really, aren't we?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, just picking them out of it. Yeah.
Well, okay. So I'll come at you with some stats just quickly. So the last time Dan Hall scored was last season, December 8th for the Mariners against Western United.
Oh.
The 2 previous meetings, the away team has won and the home team hasn't scored. If you remember the 4-0 loss, and then we went over there and won 2-0.
Mm-hmm.
So, all that said.
Yeah, with all that. 0-0.
0-0 draw.
Yeah.
I think a draw. A score draw. Look, Western's going to be pushing, and they need to find a bit of momentum themselves. They beat a pretty average Sydney by just 1 goal last weekend. So they need to find some momentum themselves. That keyword again. So I think there'll be a score draw.
All right.
Yeah,
We'll go for the same result.
I actually think to add a bit of jeopardy, or to a bit of, it could be one of those games where, because Western United might have to want to win that game, it might get to they might be drawing, they might throw a load of players on, and Auckland might catch them on the break. Kind of a bit of a counter. So, but no,
I even think, and I hate to say, but if they lose, it's not the end of the world because it is a dead rubber. I know the momentum thing, but I think everyone accepts that Western are going for it. I mean, I'm not saying it's okay to lose, but it's a better one to lose than lose one of the semi-finals.
Let's just all hope that the wind has died down since last time.
Oh yeah.
Because I hate to go over old ground, but it really did feel like it was on a knife edge to call that game off. There must be something in the FIFA manual or whatever. The A-League footballing Australian league manual that
wind counter.
If the wind is blowing more than 90 k's or something, we have to call this game off or something. Yeah, let's hope it's a side wind. That'll be even funnier instead of a down the. Or will it always blow that way? Will it always blow? I don't know.
It always blows the same way.
I think. Yeah, prevailing winds that goes across end to end.
End to end, yeah.
I just really hope one day I get to visit 1955 Hill Valley and go and see Auckland play Western United. It'd be lovely to be there.
I do. The one that looks like it's on the moon and the sauce bottles. They're my two.
The sauce.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm not going to leave.
Gosford.
I'm not leaving this planet until I go to the ground where they've got the sauce bottles.
See the sauce.
I've got that on the bucket list. Yeah.
Yep.
I refuse.
That's interesting. All right, well, that just about rounds us off. So thank you very much for watching, listening. And we've done a bit of the analytics on the show. Not all of our viewers are in New Zealand. We have viewers right across the globe, it turns out, up there in Europe, a few in Australia, in some places you would not expect, some over there in Canada. So, if you do watch Nice Drop Report from across the seas, make sure you drop us
Shout out to you all.
Yeah, good on you. And
I think what's bigged our episodes up is that I sent my clip to a lot of my family with the Stan Lazaridis link. So I think that might have...
That's probably half of it, yeah.
Because
actually, my analytics.
Yeah, I think that might have... I think some people might have looked at that and gone, what the hell? What's Matt?
No, there's been a big spike in Birmingham here.
That's right. Yeah, it's like Matt McGann. Geez, I thought he was gone. I didn't think he was around anymore. And now he's just popped up in Auckland interviewing Stan Lazaridis on a podcast. It's like, holy smokes. That's all that about. Yeah. There you go.
All right. Well, thank you very much for watching, listening, wherever you are. Enjoy the game, Western United away. We'll be back next week to get ready for those semi-finals. Matt, thanks for joining us again. Robbie, thank you. Good to see you, mate. Good stuff. We are out.
As always, gents. Pleasure.
Up the port. Let's get another win. Round the season off. Auckland FC.
Premiers.
Up the Premiers. The Premiers.